Welcome to another episode of the SoleSavy podcast. Today, I am joined by the fellows of Eastside Golf, Olajuwon Ajanaku and Earl Cooper. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. I love what you guys do, man.
I appreciate it, man. I actually got an email a month or two ago about the documentary you guys are doing, and I was really excited to share with my team because we're a startup brand as well. We just started a couple of years ago, and in the email they said, "Hey, we wanted to let you know that we're doing this documentary," and they showed us a screenshot from a while ago. They're like, "You guys have been supporting us from the early on, and we wanted your permission to feature some of the stories you guys did." And to me, it just felt cool because we were supporting early on because we really just thought what you guys were doing was cool. And now to see the growth has been amazing. And I'm looking forward to diving into that today. Right off the back, I need to know from both of you guys, what is the most important thing to look for when it comes to finding the right partner for your business, for your startup, or for your idea?
I mean, definitely looking within yourself. You're going to have to get rid of that ego, that pride, that, what I say is gold, because there's so many other viewpoints that you can learn from. If we're continuously trying to learn with no ego and continuously just trying to hit a goal of this game of golf being for so many other people, it's more than just me and Earl. That's the type of thing that you should look for in a partner, where it's more than just you and that person. And also communication, being very transparent and just telling the truth and keeping that out in front and saying what's on your mind. You never know if they're thinking the same thing or if they have like an additional idea. So, but those are just a couple of very important things to look for in a partner.
Just working really hard as well. I think people don't understand what really goes into it. It's a constant grind, and you might have had a good month or you might have done a good interview, but that's only going to last for so long. You need to have another good interview and another one and another one and another one. So I think it's just people realizing that, it's not just a one-hit record. The people that are remembered, the people that have longevity are the folks that do it over and over and over and over again.
National championship in college at Morehouse to going pro to being one of the best golf teachers in the entire country. That's just some of the bullet points on both of your guys' resumes, right? As a golfer, it's a solo sport. You're out there and you have to depend on yourself. What are some of the things you actually had to unlearn about going at it solo to know that, hey, now I'm in a partnership now, I'm in a brand now? Were there any challenges?
Olajuwon hit on it earlier, understanding that one, you're not right, being open-minded, but I think for us, we're in a unique situation because golf is such a solo sport, but having the fact that we met in college on a team, it's like that's the only time really as a golfer that you get a chance to really compete from a team perspective in college is one of those rare moments. I think you just learn a lot about yourself, though, right? And so there's certain things that I know that I necessarily need to get better in, right? If it's just listening or if it's oftentimes I think things can be misinterpreted, right? So just asking for clarification and things of that nature. But I would say that it still goes back to that core fundamental earlier, communication.
What are you willing to give up and what are you willing to sacrifice to hit the main goal? I know this person is going to work hard and they trust me to work hard as well. So us putting that together, I trust them to get it done.
Speaking about that trust and the openness to learn, it reminds me of a lot of iconic duos when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. You have a creative, and then you have a business-minded person. From my research, it sounds like Olajuwon, you came up with the idea. You're the big ideas guy. You're the creative, and then Earl came in with a really strong business mindset. Is that how you guys would describe your guys' dynamic?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to Eastside Golf, definitely. And it's so wild that this is my first time having a job in creative design. I was actually in finance for 9 years and was about to become VP of a finance firm. But moving over this direction, I've always had a passion for design, sneaker design, just creative directioning and coming up with stories that can impact people, impact just the world, really. That's kind of like my mindset and where I've shifted to. I definitely still have like a business background and talk with him about business and everything and understand it to its fullest. But definitely Earl is the one that takes, the business side.
We know our lanes and know our areas, right? And I think that's just very important as we start talking about, entrepreneurship and going after, your dream, whatever that may be. It is very important that you kind of find an area and kind of stick to it. And the fact that we've kind of both embraced and welcomed that, as far as like, with my background and scaling companies, I've done that before. Not to this degree, but kind of having that background, understanding kind of what it takes. And then really for me also, I try to rely on like building a unit and, really building a culture and really just building that type of atmosphere. Because in a small startup, like you're going to be pushing a lot of people, and you may not be paying them a lot of money, but people need to know that you actually care about them as a person. And I think we've done a really, really good job of that. And that's one of the things that's like really big important is like building a culture, right? Like we want to get smart, talented people to come work for us. And that only happens when you have a culture that people want to be a part of. And it's not just going to be, just a logo in a sense. It's going to be how you really make people feel.
Is there anything that you've learned from this partnership that you didn't know before, even though you guys had been friends for so long?
Just the way that he thinks, and the way that he goes about certain things, right? Again, I think as a friend, you just kind of see the end result. You don't necessarily get like the process. And so kind of learning, the process and then just learning more about him as well, because I think a lot of the conversations were like kind of just quick update calls. Where now, like, his family is really my family and vice versa. And I think we're constantly evolving, with the business as well, right? Because you're meeting new people, new opportunities, all those sorts of things. So you're still learning.
One of the things that I'm still learning are politics, because I'm a straight shooter. The reason I even came up with this company was because I was tired of working corporate. I was tired of, I felt like I could run the company, but I knew it would be another 30 years before they would give me the shot. One of the things I learned from him was it's always a way of getting what you want, but it's more chess than anything. Put the right relationships in order, put the right designs in order for my vision, but then place it to where you literally just put your chess pieces on to where you can actually win at chess. And I feel like, either from getting shoes, to meeting certain people, MJ, to even the way that we run this company as far as marketing. I mean, it's always chess on how you get those certain customers or how you hit those different demographics, marketing, sales, everything just strategically on how I've seen we be successful.
I've been listening to some of your guys' interviews, and the question always gets asked, well, how did you get CP3 to wear it, or Victor Cruz, et cetera, et cetera? Did you see them and you gave them a shirt? And your answers are always like, no, I didn't do any of that. We met them and we kind of just like treated it like an organic introduction to someone who's doing something cool. And I thought that was super interesting, because you hear all these stories, and there's a time and place, don't get me wrong, about how people maximize their moment. They met somebody and it's like, oh, is that MJ? I'm gonna go give him a pair of shoes and he's gonna sign me or whatever, right? But you guys seem to approach it way different. Like, hey, we believe in what we're doing, so we're not really here to sell, especially like in a social environment. If we meet somebody, we just want to get to know them and let them go to know them. So it sounds like you're more introducing yourselves before you even introduce the brand. Where does that instinct come from?
Our just do it is be authentic. As long as we continue to be authentic and tell our story from the most serious place, from all of our experiences, somebody's going to connect with that. We did a collaboration with Social Status maybe about a year and a half ago. I designed the entire collection, and it was on the back of the hoodie. It was, be authentic, be conscious, be honest, and be true, but all of those things can, be morals and values in your life. Learning and putting things into perspective. That's how I go about things, for sure.
We've always kind of respect everyone. You never know who knows who. Like even the relationship that we built with like Tatum didn't come like directly through Tatum, right? It came through someone, a good friend of his that we met through someone else, and we've known them for a while, and it just kind of built its way up. And then from there, they connect you with certain people. And I feel like, we do a good job of like treating the people around the people as special as the people, if that makes sense, right? Like even the Chris Paul situation, like that was his brother CJ that birthed that relationship, right? And then now when you see CP, because again, these people are running, they're everywhere. It's, we get it, it's the love, but it's like, it's the ones that are around the people, and we do a really, really good job. And I think we've learned a lot from like that with just like the super OGs, whether it be Sean Pecos who's, our big OG, or whether it's, Worldwide West, and, just learning how he's built relationships as well. So I think that's a huge part of what we do, where you just never know who knows who, and you want to treat, the least of them as you do, the big names.
In sports, we're usually focused on the youth, right? Which is super important. That's when you guys started playing golf. That's when I started playing sports. Obviously has a major impact at that level. But we seem to forget about people when they become adults, right? Like they're almost done dreaming or done chasing their goals. And I love that your guys are targeting young professionals. You want them to get into the game of golf. You're not saying, hey, if you didn't start playing when you were 5 or 10, it's too late. You're saying, no, it's not too late. And there are tons and tons of valuable things you can get from this game.
What we see coming in the future is the youth definitely being a part of Eastside Golf, but let's get help, first. Let's get all the adults surrounding us. So it's not just us, pushing this one agenda, trying to get more people into golf. Now we have all these young professionals, all these more influential people that believe in our brand, but that could spread that word of Eastside Golf even easier than we can.
Yeah, and I would also add, I mean, it doesn't work the other way. Like, it's a fact. They've done it for years, and they've invested billions of dollars. Golf is a sport. There's no way you can go into any kid or any urban community and just give a kid some golf clubs, some golf clothes, and think he's going to be on his way. Right? Like, we got here with an adult. You need an involved adult, because, again, still, you're going to the golf course and you're going to be around majority older white men, right? Like, that's a lot for someone. Like, you need to be in a protected, like, again, it's just, so there's so many things that, that we just literally look back and we said, we want to just do it differently, right? Like, they've invested billions of dollars in junior golf, focusing on, diverse communities, and it hasn't bubbled up to the top. And so for us, it was just like, hey, we just want to go about it differently.
From my perspective, seems like you're pushing the lifestyle of golf before you're actually pushing the game of the performance wise. Because as you mentioned before, it's not as easy as just like, hey, here's a club, good luck. You're a 4 or 5-year-old. Your dad doesn't buy you a batting glove and a bat. He buys you your first hat, right? Or your jersey. That's how you get people into it. It's the lifestyle. Hey, this is cool. Look at all these people hanging around here. Is that something that crossed your guys' mind?
This is the first time you'll see a golf clothing brand that sells to Whistling Straits, where they hold the Ryder Cup. Also, those same pieces that we sell to Whistling Straits can be sold to Fat Joe's boutique up NYC. I wanted the clothes to ride the line of being golf, but then also being fashionable. And that's why the sweatshirt can be worn on and off the golf course. I wanted to create a piece like our hooded vest, because now that's a piece that can be worn over a sweatshirt, out with your friends, out with your buddies, but now it can be worn over a polo, and now a hood is accepted on the golf course. It's really just making clothes that ride the line of being performance just for golfers, but then also making that piece and thinking outside the box. Even thinking about streetwear pieces that can be qualified as golf pieces. That's a gem for a lot of golf companies, but thinking about those pieces to where now, do you even know if this is actual golf wear or streetwear or just lifestyle?
Golf is just a sport that's always been boxed in. You've never questioned anyone wearing a basketball jersey, baseball jersey. They're out rocking it. It's like, just allow people to kind of create dope things and allow people to do whatever they want to do. It's not about necessarily us saying, yeah, you can only have it here and have it there. I mean, we have to do that because that's the way the golf is designed. And that's why people are just always just kind of, in my mind, like, set aside with it. There's nothing wrong with the game of golf, but there is something 100% wrong with the way that it's kind of being taught and presented to people and kids, right? Because it's all of these rules, like it's just a stick and a ball on a grass field, right? But then it's like, when you got to have your shirt tucked in, you got to be quiet. You can't have your music. You can't do this. It's just like, all right, well, you know what? I'm good. Like, I don't even want to play no more. I always use that example or analogy of like Timberland boots. They were built for construction, but you see people wearing it. Like, I've seen people wear ski goggles. They ain't never been on a mountain before. It's fashionable. Like, you just allow people to express themselves how they want to express themselves. And I think that's what we've unlocked when it comes to golf, because you've never seen it in the golf space. There's like this rule, like, oh, you can't do that. As Ove said before, this will be the first time you're going to see, technically, quote unquote, a golf shoe, the AJ12 high, in an NBA game. Well, why not? Like, as long as someone can't get injured, then why can't you do it? Same thing with a collar shirt versus a t-shirt. If you don't have a polo shirt, you should still be allowed to go to the golf course in a t-shirt, because if that's all you have, it's not affecting your performance.
You guys are competitors. I mentioned earlier, competing at the highest level. I've seen a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot, but a lot more than I ever had in my life, streetwear adjacent golf brands popping up, golf events, golf blogs. I think Hypebeast has Hype Golf now. Does part of you look at that and say, it's working? What we want to do is grow the game, and it's working. Because I don't know who was first, right? But I know who's the most visible, and it's the one that has a collab coming out with Jordan. How does that feel as a competitor, but also as like, hey, that's our goal. We want more people to like this.
There was 2 goals. It was for me to turn pro, but then also change the game to where a younger Earl and Olajuwon would feel comfortable to actually come out to a golf course.
It's an $84 billion business, right? So industry. And so we know that we're not going to be the only ones here. And we're here, to your point, to hopefully provide that blueprint and inspire others, because we were inspired. You know, there was a gap that we saw, and for the Hype Golfs of the world. And, you know, you got Bogey Boys, you got Malbon, you have so many other different brands that are out here and that are doing. And again, we can't source everything. We're not going to be this for everybody, right? So, but we love the fact that there is something for you. And I feel like that was the other thing too, where it's like, typically in golf, all the brands look the same, you know, prior to, you know, this big kind of movement. The interesting thing about this like big spike in the game has nothing to do with quote unquote the players in the game. I think, you know, no knock to the players, but it's more of like what's causing the game to grow is the fact that it was COVID, the fact that like now people are seeing it everywhere. Associated with people that they're big fans of, whether it be Victor Cruz, CC Sabathia, and Jason Tatum, and so on, and so Mookie Betts. And it's like, oh, Mookie plays golf. Now I get the correlation, and my friend was playing golf. There are a host of other people that are willing to grow the game with you and learn the game with you. Like 5 years ago, it was like an anomaly. But now if you go to your buddies like, yo, I want to go to the driving range, they're like, all right, cool, let's do it. Where before they were like, nah, I'm good.
When I was saying earlier, changing the game, I would hope that a lot more golf companies are as honest as we are, talking about what's going on in the world from a golf standpoint. 180 for 28,000 when it comes to PGA of America, black PGA pros versus the rest of them. That's 180 for 28,000. You know, let's be honest, you know, because if we get more of our competitors to be honest and talk the way that we do, the game of golf will change. Let's find a solution. Let's truly get out here and be the difference maker. And that's why I hope all of our competition comes behind us and does, or is trying to do now, and not just stick a person of diversity of different ethnicity in their clothes and just be done with it.
You can't open up that gate by gatekeeping, right? Like it's a positive thing if more people are spreading this message in an authentic way. So I definitely agree with that. What's the scrappiest thing you guys have done as founders to get something done? Even if it wasn't best practice or it sounded crazy.
I got a lot of them,
yeah,
but when I started the company, caught wind, started going well. I was on Instagram all the time, and it got to a point that I had to one night ship out about maybe just under 400 packages by myself. Had to load up the Camry. I packed all the boxes myself, wrote a thank you card in every single one. Just imagine writing literally blank thank you cards, writing your name, you know, and putting some type of motivated, you know, sentence under it and saying thank you again. But I started driving around maybe at like 9 p.m. I maybe finished unloading all of those boxes by like 5 a.m. because I had to travel around to maybe a good 12 to 13 post offices that all the boxes could fit in that blue receiver that they have. All the boxes wouldn't fit in there. Once it's full, I had to go find another. I'm traveling all around Michigan at the time. And, you know, I finally got that done that night. I would say that was the most scrappiest thing that I've ever done.
So the whole thing was we were shippers. So we would have it at our crib, right? And so we would go out on the road and like promote the brand, but then people would complain like they couldn't get it because we were still on the road. So then finally we finally come back on the road. We had like 150, I think like 150 sales. I'm like, all right, I'm like, hey, I'm about to knock this out. The funny part about it was I guess we could say it now. We were being a little bit scrappy with the postage. And so, I guess not weighing it all the way, I guess. So literally, it was like 150 boxes that basically they grabbed them all up and was like, no, like you need to ship it back to the sender and get the right weight on it. So then literally, so now you gotta understand, customers already waiting because we were on the road, go through all of that. Then you gotta pick them up, take them, reload them back in the crib, go through. It was crazy. I mean, we were customer service, we were everything, but now that was definitely a very frustrating moment. Trying to save a couple of dollars. Because like you said, back then the margins weren't as great, and it was, you did everything you had to do to get to where we are. But no, and then there's been other folks like, I can remember Kevin Allen, our videographer, one time literally like slept on a dresser, and just like we, because it was just nowhere else to sleep. And it was just those type of sacrifices that we all made collectively as a group.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And I'm sure all aspiring entrepreneurs who are going to listen are going to be able to relate to that, or just know, hey, that's what it takes sometimes, right? You got to do whatever it takes to get that customer, to make that customer happy. The AJ12, the first golf basketball shoe, like you mentioned earlier, it's the first of something. And there was something super poetic about that to me, because the AJ12 this year is celebrating 25 years in China. It was the first retro to ever launch in China. So it's a big deal to China. Every year for Chinese New Year, there's a new AJ12 because that's their first ever Jordan. This is the first ever golf Jordan, but it's still a basketball shoe. It's just a cool story, right?
Yeah.
A non-golf inspired basketball shoe. So for both of you, what do you want the Eastside Golf legacy to be, looking back now 25 years from now, and the impact that it had on both of these games and just both of these cultures as a whole?
I want Eastside Golf to honestly start a whole new wave of people playing, that percentage to grow of people that actually play in all over the world because of Eastside, different ethnicities to feel confident enough to go out on the course and say, hey, like, this is something I can do, feel stylish. People have to have balls, honestly, to go out there and to put a logo out there and stand on what they think that logo would talk about, would be about, would believe in, and post those things with respect, but do that all the way through. And in 25 years, people looking back, and it's just like, yo, like Eastside Golf is the reason. Now there's a new invitational. Now there's a new, maybe an Eastside Golf Club that a lot of people go to and learn the game of golf.
I mean, like he said, the goal is to change the game. And so I think if that's happening, and when you look back and we left this game better than the way that we found it, oftentimes referencing the canvas, where it's such a diverse group of people, and it's like the logo coming to life. And then, he's hitting the ball down the fairway, but he got the chain swinging. We really just want to be judged based off the impact that we had, right? That's true success, and the rest will come. And I think that's literally how we operate. It's not transactional. We don't look at it like, oh, all right, well, if you post it here, then it's going to work, because that's like the influencer marketing kind of model, and that's just never been our thing. And so I think more people, if they just treat people the right way, that is going to take them further than saying like, oh man, like, well, if one person does it, because it's never going to be one person. It's a collective effort.
Great. So the last question before we have to jump, I just want to know what your guys' favorite pieces of the collection are.
I would go with the cardigan. Going to Morehouse, cardigans were like a big deal. Like, it was always like homecoming. It's like a varsity jacket cardigan with the different hits, and every hit has a different story to it.
I noticed Zion was a big fan too, amongst a lot of others. When he started wearing it, I was like, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Paolo had it on too. Definitely the AJ12 lifestyle. I mean, that tells just the story of, where I'm from, how I grew up playing golf and what I'm willing to do to make this game a part of my life. Truly, I'm willing to go to great lengths, and I hope that everybody sees this shoe and definitely is willing to go to great lengths for their dream. The shorts and honestly the hoodie, those are like my two. I feel Jordan's history that they've made like a Jordan golf hoodie on the Jordan side, but making it tailored to golf. And I mean, it's just a cool look. Never seen anything like it. The whole story behind the shorts, I designed them to have a belt loops, having a drawstring that hangs, because now if you want to wear a t-shirt, you can wear these shorts and the drawstring hangs, and it just looks like regular Jordan Eastside collab shorts. these same shorts are allowed
Mhm.
at the country club
Yeah.
because you just tuck your drawstring and now you put on a belt and now you can wear it to a country club. Some of the mishaps that I had being kicked off a golf course for, the apparel that I was wearing. There were other reasons as well. We can all take a swing at that. Taking the apparel and putting it in front of everybody to where they won't have any problems at a country club, and then taking those same pieces and wearing them off the golf course. So, I mean, that's really a long explanation, but that's why I love these pieces.
I think the significance of the shoe bag is going to be one where in golf, you've always seen shoe bags and it's more of like a traditional thing. But I think you're going to, I'm mark my word, you're going to start seeing a little bit more copycat in the shoe bag, or you could see somebody like I could see them walking down the tunnel because, a lot of these guys have like their totes with their personal stuff in it. So I'm telling you, that shoe bag, a golf shoe bag is going to find its way in so many different places that people never imagined. But the shoe bag is definitely dope. It's a dope piece, a dope addition.
Giving them a lot of gems, Earl. You giving
Yeah, I
them
like that. It
a lot of
reminds me
gems.
like we're gonna see the golfers walking in like the NBA tunnel picks soon
Right.
with the shoe bag and everything. Well, Earl, Olajuwon, I appreciate your guys' time so much, man. Thanks for sharing some of these stories with us, and looking forward to the collection dropping.